its neglect has been tolerated. The overlay is years overdue, and we recently found out the severely damaged portion is further delayed while awaiting grant funds for that water pipe that may or may not be realized. Our leadership is not pushing hard enough to get the results our residents deserve. This couldn't be more clear in the history of the Linola Streetscape project. Our increasing density brought on by new residential projects is concerning. As it stands, we've maxed out the amount of well water we can pump due to DEP limits. We have to buy water from American Water as it is, which means additional water will be purchased to supply all new developments. Higher density will also increase the need for our fire, police, and emergency response teams. We may have to move from our all-volunteer fire response team to a paid career or combination fire department. We will also see an influx of students to our school system. Each time they grant a pilot to a developer, the 65% portion of taxes the school would receive is eliminated, and the town receives that funding at a significantly reduced rate. Again, this isn't singling out affordable housing residents. This also applies to the market rate units, which make up the majority of the housing plan. There will be a need for increased funding to support additional teachers, staff, and facilities. When the current plan development is completed, including the unmet need, it's estimated that about 700 students will be added to the district. With an annual cost of about $19,000 per student, that's at least an additional $3.3 million needed for the school budget. Without the full value of tax revenue from these developments, the burden of these increased costs will shift to the rest of us, greatly impacting our senior citizens on fixed incomes and the young families just starting out in town. Council decisions do impact the school district. When they limit the source of funding for the district, you're setting our schools up for failure and raise taxes drastically.
Thank you, Janice. Nicole?
So I feel fortunate that one of my opponents started off with so many questions because now I have an opportunity to answer them. So in fact, our infrastructure has gotten better over the last 4 years. We don't need a new sewage treatment plant. We already know that. We've done those studies and those assessments. Main Street, the part that we're working on, is in fact not a county road. The part that we're working on is owned by the township. The Water Street, the condition of Main Street, the water main, despite what you may read on social media, did not happen in the last 4 years. That has been neglected for a long time. There are trolley tracks under Main Street that either need to be dug up or we can Band-Aid it again. We found a creative solution to deal with that, and we're handling it. There's a 100-year-old crumbling concrete water main under Main Street. Obviously, we're not going to repave that until that's been replaced. Again, this is what we mean when we say fiscal responsibility. We've upgraded the sewer treatment plant. A repair was put in years and years ago that was insufficient, that led to various kinds of repair this year. Go back to this. Because of the upgrades we made, we're never again going to have to make that kind of upgrade. My colleagues didn't know about this, but I'm telling you it's true. We're addressing speeding and traffic control to make our streets safer for vehicles and pedestrians. We've addressed the maintenance of our water towers. They're not just decoration, those maintain the pressure in our water system. We're dealing with the last brownfield in Moorestown, which will soon begin producing revenue for the town for the first time in over 40 years. But there is more to do. Thanks to the water treatment plants, which again, credit where credit's due, that was the previous council. But we inherited $50 million worth of debt with those water treatment plants. And that clean water, the cleanest in the state, is coming to us through crumbling water mains. We have got to take that on. There's a lot more that I can say about what we have done, what we have to do, but what I would encourage you to do is, we're very open about this. Come to council meetings, read what's on the website, what we posted. We have been dealing with long neglected infrastructure needs for 4 years, and I hope to continue doing that.
Thank you, Nicole. And first, since I sit on the board of trustees for the community house, the first mission tomorrow is to get a new PA system. You listened. You can clap for me. Thank you. I have a stack of index cards that have been collected from the audience, and we'll get through as many as we can in about a half hour. Candidates, again, will have 1 minute to answer each question, and we will continue to rotate with which person answers first. So we're going to start with the Democrats are up, and I'm going to read the first question. from the audience. Again, you have 1 minute to answer this question. How will you address the recent surge in crime in town, car thefts, home robberies, etc.? Again, how will you address the recent surge in crime in town, car thefts, home robberies? And I believe, Nicole, you are up.
So it's true, there has been a rash of recent car thefts. Our police, we have been in contact with the police, as we always are. Of course, it is their responsibility to keep us safe. We have an excellent police department, and in 2019, we increased the number of our police officers for the first time in at least 5 years. I get that this is disturbing. It's happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago. Someone broke into my car in my driveway. But the truth is that crime is decreasing in Moorestown. From 2019 to 2021, there were 608 incidents in Moorestown. 3 years prior to that, over 900. Crime is decreasing in Moorestown. We have an excellent police force. Like I said, we've increased by an officer. We have provided them with equipment, with hybrid vehicles, with body armors, with body cameras. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Janice?
I agree with you that we have an excellent police department, and I would want to consult with them as well to determine whether they think we need increased staff, because from my Oprah request, I realized we've held steady at about 33 officers over the last 5 years, yet there has been developments and new housing. So I think we should go to them to see, are you understaffed? Do you have the capability for overnight patrols? This is something we should ask them, because in fact, violent crimes has increased, and particularly in the mall and Eastgate, I don't remember a time when I heard about so many violent crimes. So this is extremely troubling as a parent, and we can really look to the police force to get their recommendations on that. The budget, in fact, has decreased $300,000 from 2020 to 2022. I think we could put good use to those funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Quentin?
My opponent mentions a reduced budget, and that's due to the fact that we lost many senior officers and brought on many junior officers. So when you have younger officers, they're naturally going to get paid less than the senior officers. That's what led to the reduction in budget. But also, I would like to agree and say I trust our police department. That's why I voted to add a police officer, and we didn't have just 33 officers for the past year. For the 5 years, we had 33 officers, and we added one last year to make it 34. That's why I also voted to add new police vehicles, and also never voted against any budgetary requests that Chief has made. And look, I am worried about the crime that's happening here in our neighborhoods too. And we've heard concern from residents, but I want to assure everyone in this room that our police department is working proactively, extra hours, to be in our neighborhoods to deter crime, because everyone in this community deserves to be safe. And I also agree we need to pay attention to the expanding population in our town and make sure that one, the police has the resources they need to properly protect us, but two, we have a line of communication open to the residents, so when crime does happen, everyone is aware of what's going on. Thank you.
Quentin, Aaron?
We can all agree our police force does an amazing job. But out of the 34 full-time police officers that were mentioned, we have 2 that are on leave, 1 more being deployed for active military duty, only leaving 31 officers on active duty. I also understand that we have a Class 2 officer leaving us for full-time employment in another municipality. To me, this does not seem like enough officers for our current population, let alone the population that will be joining us and that we're adding to with the new developments that are coming. I am extremely worried about the crime here. I'm raising my family. I think we need to work with the police. I think we need to talk to them about what they need and what they think their staffing needs are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, our second question. What are your thoughts on the Moorestown Mall redevelopment plan? Again, what are your thoughts on the Moorestown Mall redevelopment plan? And this question We'll start with the Republicans, and Tara, you're up.
I do not have any problem with repurposing the shopping mall. However, to my points that I made to my infrastructure question, this has us adopting a higher density model. And what is the plan to manage the growth? Is there one? There were several questions asked at this meeting this past Monday night at the mall. And I do not feel that our current council had the answers for them. And at this point in the game, when construction has already been started, I would have hoped that when asked if Cooper was a tax rateable, that we would have been given a better answer than we are working out the details. So is Cooper going to pay regular taxes the same way Virtua is across town? Also, there is a question about the impact of the students coming from this location, the traffic, parking situation, and how this will put stress onto all of our taxpayers. I am concerned because none of these questions were adequately answered on Monday night's meeting.
Thank you, Tara. Quentin?
Thank you. And just 2 nights ago, we had a forum about the history of the Moorestown Mall, and there was a question asked about, is Cooper Medical Center going to be rateable? The answer was yes, but we are still working out the details. It's absolutely going to be rateable, and I'm very excited about the future of our Moorestown Mall. Occupancy is up over 95% in that space. And if you look around the country, malls are dying, but the ones that are bouncing back and are flourishing are following a blueprint very similar to what we're doing here at the Moorestown Mall. And it makes it easier when you have businesses like Cooper, Rosieri Spa, Yard House that bring folks in and provide economic activity in the space. The mall is in rough shape, but now it's become an entertainment center, and as the mayor said, we inherited a space that wasn't bringing in any money for our community. So now it's providing rateables, now it's providing a business district that is going to improve our financial health. And as the CEO of Crete said, I believe the development of the mall is a sign of the positive direction that Moorestown is going. Thank you.
Thank you, Quentin. Janice?
Historically, the mall has been our largest tax rateable, and in the past, the town has tried to support the mall and having a vested interest in its success. This is a big reason why the referendum was pushed to allow the sale of alcohol throughout Moorestown. But this council has been too focused on giving the owners of the mall everything they asked for, and in doing so, they are devaluing the tax rateable it once was. Giving out tax breaks in form of the pilot program for the residential apartments was not necessary. Our opponent will say that they did it to incentivize the mall to agree with the redevelopment deal, when in fact all it did was allow the mall to sell 6 acres to a residential housing developer for a higher price.
Thank you, Janice. Nicole?
I'm somewhat amused by my opponent saying that they know what I'm going to say, because they don't. So the pilots, once again, as I said before, we negotiated this in a court of law with fair share housing. I didn't particularly want to incentivize that. We were in negotiations. That is a done deal. So we did give a pilot to that. We have the option of sharing the pilots with the schools. We don't have to. Again, we have talked to the school districts. So this is where we are, but I think the development of the mall is going to be wonderful. We're going to have a built-in customer base. We're going to have people who are waiting for their appointment at Cooper are going to be able to go to the food court. We are revitalizing what my opponent's correctly mentioned was one of our biggest rateables in town. So honestly, I don't think the plan there is absolutely perfect, but it is a lot better than what we've had, and I'm really excited about it.
Thank you, Nicole. I believe we're going to have time for one question. One question left. Is that fair?
There should be more than that. Well, time has to be. Oh.
Okay,
Let's do one and see where we're at. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Question 3. And the Democrats will go first on this. Again, 1 minute to answer. If elected to council, what would you do to improve transparency and communication between the township and the residents? Again, if elected to council, what would you do to improve transparency and communication? Bad communication right there. Communication between the township and the residents. And Quentin, you are up.
transparency and communication starts with access. That's why I'm proud that we have maintained a hybrid meeting model, despite the fact that multiple communities around us have moved away to solely in-person meetings. Now folks that can't participate in person have an opportunity to participate in council meetings from home. Also, we are redesigning our website to make it more user-friendly so folks here in this community can have an understanding of what's happening. And next, we've had listening sessions everywhere from the Linola Improvement Project to tackling speeding here in our community. When something comes up, I'm very proud to be on the council that says, you know what, you have a problem in this community, all right, we're gonna meet you where you are and have a conversation about it. If anyone in this room has attended any of our council meetings, you know that if you have any issue, you can come up to us and we will spend the next 3 hours talking about it because it's that important to us. We're here to listen to you and we're here to listen to your voice. And I believe that's how transparency happens. So as long as I'm elected on the council, I will continue to engage with residents, meet them where they are, and be as transparent as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Quentin. Jeff?
I actually think that, I think I'm not loud enough anyway. I do like the fact that more people can view meetings online. However, a lot of our residents do not have access
to the internet and cannot go to Zoom meetings and cannot go in person.
And a lot of times they're not aware of the agenda items until Friday before a Monday meeting. And I think that's just too quick of a turnaround and not transparent enough about what's going to appear on those Monday night meetings every other week. I think as soon as we know of schedules, we need to be able to get it out to the community in advance. It doesn't have to be a finalized agenda, but we need to leave it up to each neighborhood, each district, to determine how it's best accessible for them. If we have community leaders that can help get out the word about what's on the agenda, then I think that can only help and be more transparent. I also believe in making sure that there's open bidding options.
Thank you, Janice. Nicole?
Thank you. So when I ran in 2018, transparency was one of my commitments, and I'm proud of how far we have come in the last 4 years. So not only can you find the agendas online 48 hours, as is required by law, you can sign up to get those texted to you, you can get those emailed to you. Like we said, we're doing hybrid meetings or in person. We're one of the few towns that are still doing that. I've been writing monthly columns in the Moorestown Sun. Maybe not the most widely read paper in the country, but still, we're getting it out there. We mentioned the public information officer. She's just not a social media person. She's working on upgrading our website, which really not that great. It's needed this for a long time. So we have made a lot of progress on transparency. We're going to continue making this. We've talked about listening sessions. In 2019, we started doing those in person. We've continued those in Zoom, now that we've all learned how to do Zoom. I don't believe those have ever been done before in Moorestown. I'm proud of that track record, and I think we can make a lot more progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Give it a shot. Might have to scream.
Okay. I think for council, it's important to have the public's input in these matters. Council's job is to listen and represent the community they have been elected to serve. The regular use of closed session meetings and the use of redevelopment zones that reduce the opportunity for the public to speak on these issues are not the right way to represent all of the people. We must remember when elected, we are serving the whole community, not just those with the same party affiliation.
Okay. We're getting. All right, we're getting towards the end of the time. I'd like to give the candidates some time to make closing comments. This may include clarifying or rebutting anything that was said earlier. Candidates, you will have up to 2 minutes to help the audience understand why you're asking for their vote. And the Republicans are going to go first, with Tara going first, and let's be very gentle with it.
I would first like to thank our moderator, Chris Chesner, for doing an amazing job tonight. I would also like to thank Mark Morgan for keeping us on time. And I would also like to thank Mike Locatel and Lenny Wagner for organizing this forum. And a big thank you to all of you for your attendance tonight. This is a very important election, and it's great to see so many residents that care about this town and the direction it is going in. I briefly mentioned earlier that I am a full-time working mother of 3. And my career in recruiting, I feel, is truly an asset, and having this background would benefit me while serving on council. I spend my days as a recruiter actively listening, understanding objections, and finding the right opportunities and solutions for people as they embark on their new career paths. To me, there is no greater reward than putting people to work and helping them find their dream job. I credit growing up here in Moorestown for helping me develop my strong work ethic, dedication to family, and passion for community service. I see a shift happening here in Moorestown, and I want to bring back the small town feel, the way it was when I was growing up here. We feel it is important to unify the town and bring people back together and have this town not be divided anymore by partisan politics. We are ready to work with everyone so that we can do what is best for Moorestown. We do not care if you're an R or a D, we care if you're an M. We all need to worry more about being a Moorestonian and care about the decisions we are making and the impact that they will have on this town now and for generations to come. We have been knocking doors and listening to the concerns that the residents have, and we feel that council needs to listen more and involve the residents more so that we can address these concerns together. When on council, we promise to communicate better with residents and seek more public input on key decisions. There needs to be more transparency when it comes to council and the decisions being made. It would truly be an honor to serve on town council and give back to the town that has given me so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Nicole?
Thank you. So when I announced that I was going to run for a second term on council, a lot of people asked me why I was doing it. And to be honest, I thought long and hard about the decision to run again. And of course the reason is because I love Moorestown. This is my home. But also because over the last 4 years, I've heard over and over again from residents how much they appreciate the changes they've seen in Moorestown. From Democrats, from Republicans, and unaffiliated voters. They are happy with the direction they are going and they want to see more. They know they have a voice, that whether they voted for us or not, that we will listen when they raise concerns or they bring ideas to us about how we can do better. Whether that's in a council meeting, one of the many listening sessions we've held, or reaching out to individual council members. But even though I've been doing this for almost 4 years, I honestly feel like I've just gotten started. Municipal government, as I have learned the hard way, is incredibly complex. As council members, we have oversight of a $38 million a year business, staffed by 115 full-time and 50 part-time employees, serving over 21,000 customers. This is no trivial responsibility. I've done a lot of volunteer work. This is bigger than any volunteer gig I've ever held. I am so grateful that I've had the opportunity to serve these past 4 years and for how much I've learned along the way. I've talked a lot tonight about the progress that we've made in so many areas, but one of the most important things I've learned is how much more we can do. And maybe most importantly, I've learned how to get it done. And my commitment to serving my community has only grown stronger over the past 4 years. Quinn and I come from very different backgrounds. We bring very different perspectives to council. We don't always agree. But we both have the experience, the ideas, and the commitment to continue moving Moorestown forward. I hope we can count on your support and the honor of serving for another 4 years.
Thank you, Nicole. Janice?
It's interesting you mentioned about listening to all the residents, because when I personally had an issue in this town, I did try to speak with council and mayor, and my neighbors and I felt extremely dismissed. So maybe there's a difference on who you listen to perhaps, but that's one of the reasons why I'm running. And as far as the pilots, with those being required, that's actually not the case. It might check a box on an affordable housing developers list and make them more desirable to get those tax credits, but they're not required. And if you think you have to do them, then you have a duty to push back on New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Financing Agency and make them understand what this is doing to our infrastructure and school systems, not just locally, but statewide. Also, as far as the Cooper ratables, the fact that this is already under construction and we don't have a deal finalized yet,
I find that very interesting and wonder why that is the case. But we've attended town council meetings for some time now, and one thing that has really struck us is that ordinances and resolutions are unanimously passed at an astounding rate with little to no discussion. So either those discussions are taking place elsewhere, or decisions are being made without any debate or information being gathered. And many of these decisions, as you've heard tonight, have significant consequences. We want to be those voices that ask questions in a public forum and ensure that decisions are being made in a thoughtful and well-reasoned manner. We want to engage with residents and draw them into the decision-making process. Our town can only benefit from open and well-intentioned discussions. Differences of opinions may exist, but it's healthy to have active engagement. Thank you to Chris, Mark, Maureen, and Lenny and Mike for putting this together tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you heard many of the great things happening in our community. However, the work is never done. We always have room to get better, and I believe that we will. But we don't get better by going backwards. We get better when we have efficient, effective, and responsible leadership on town council. And Nicole and I are committed to continuing that work. We have the experience to continue that work and get things done. Because our vision is one where every taxpayer gets the best possible services at the lowest possible cost. Our vision is one where you all have clean air, water, and parks for your families. And most importantly, our vision is one where it doesn't matter if you live in Lenola or Laurel Creek, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, whether you voted for us or you didn't, you have a seat at our table. That's what Moorestown Forward is all about. That's how I think we're gonna get things done in this community and get them done effectively. And I've talked to thousands of people in this community over the past 2 years of being on council, and I've seen the absolute best of Moorestown. Matter of fact, I owe everything to this community. I'm running to give back to the place that gave me the tools to be in the position that I am today. So Nicole and I are asking for your vote tonight to continue doing the work to move our community forward, and I hope that you can join us, because we're gonna continue to work for everyone in this community, no matter who you are, where you're from, how you look, how much money you made. You have a seat at our table. Thank you.
Thank you, and you now can applaud. I'd also like to thank the candidates for not going over the time limit. I was sweating up here how I was going to tell somebody to shut up. But I appreciate that very much. I'd like to thank all who volunteered for this event tonight, for this event this evening. I appreciate the active engagement of our audience. Thank you for your thoughtful questions that give us all a better idea of where the candidates stand on issues that are important to you. In closing, I'd like to especially thank the candidates for your willingness to serve our community and for having the courage to run for office. It's a true commitment, and thank you. This wraps up the formal portion of our candidate forum. You'll have an opportunity to mingle with the candidates for about a half hour or until about 9 p.m. You can also learn more by going to their websites, Moorestownfirst.com for the Republican candidates, and Moorestownforward.com for the Democratic candidates. Okay, they have it. Sorry, the Republicans have a different name now.
It's leadership@listens.us.
Leadership@listens.us. Okay, sorry about that. You can find both campaigns on Facebook. Please have a great night. Please drive safely, and don't forget to vote Tuesday, November 8th. And again, you have about a half hour to mingle, then I'm going to flick the lights, and you got to get out. Have a great night.